All right, so let's talk about Matt Gaetz, who has been facing some trouble recently, especially as a House panel released a report on his sexual misconduct allegations, which involve him allegedly paying a underage girl for sex. Participating in sex trafficking, that sort of stuff. We got a report here from NPR, as well as a bunch of other tweets from some journalists, even some tweets from Matt Gaetz himself. It's some wild shit. We have this report from CNN that we'll watch, and some additional stuff just to let you know, like, he more than likely did this shit. So let's look at this report from NPR that goes more into it. The House Ethics Committee on Monday released its long-awaited report on former Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida after looking into sexual misconduct allegations against him. The committee found there was substantial evidence Gaetz violated House rules, state and federal laws, and other standards of conduct prohibiting prostitution, statutory rape, illicit drug use, acceptance of impermissible gifts, the provision of special favors and privileges, and obstruction of Congress. Among other accusations, the committee found Gaetz engaged in sexual activity with a 17-year-old in 2017 and used or possessed illegal drugs on multiple occasions from 2017 to 2019, including ecstasy and cocaine. Gaetz has consistently denied any wrongdoing, including in a statement on social media last week. "I never had sexual contact with someone under 18. Any claim that I have would be destroyed in court, which is why no such claim has ever made in court. My 30s were an era of working very hard and playing hard too. It's embarrassing, though not criminal, that I probably partied, womanized, drank, and smoked more than I should have early in my life." Dude, you were in your 30s, though. Like, he's talking about his 30s the way that some people talk about their 20s. Like, your frontal lobe developed at that point, man. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, I was just going through a rough patch. Like, what, 5 years ago? You're still... He's just really losing it. He's just been fucking he's been losing his mind even before this, because there was speculation that this was going to come out, so he was like immediately trying to be on the defense. This is something that a lot of people have known about for years as well. It's like, it's kind of been that open secret of like, yeah, Matt Gaetz is more than likely a sexual predator. The panel opened an investigation into Gaetz in 2021 after a flurry of allegations against the then congressman, including illegal drug use and sexual misconduct. It released a report against the objections of some of the panel's members and its chairman, Representative Matt Gaetz, who said the committee had no jurisdiction over former members of Congress. And that's the thing, is that I don't think this is really any other... Like, the only reason we're getting this report, the only reason that this is coming out, is because Matt Gaetz has just pissed off a lot of people, even, people on his side. Back when, like, they were doing the Kevin McCarthy, when they were doing, like, the speaker, like, that whole thing with, like, the Speaker of the House. I forget how long ago that's been. I'm pretty sure we covered it on this channel. But, like, that whole thing, with the Never Kevers, all that drama, I think that's what really came back to bit him, is that Matt Gaetz just became too much of, like, an obstruction. He became too much of an obstacle in his own party, that they were just like, once we don't have you in power anymore, we're just gonna, really ruin your career with this. Like, I've heard some people speculate that he might try to run for governor in Florida. Even if he does, I don't think he's going to get that much support, in all honesty. He was supposed to be, I forget what he was supposed to be on Trump's cabinet. Honestly, I kind of forgot. But there was some worry that he was going to be a part of Trump's cabinet. It was still up in the air of whether or not he would be allowed, because, you had to be approved of that seat by other people, but they decided to like take him out of that position before they could even get confirmation, just because they were really unsure of whether or not he was going to get in. But yeah, it's not looking great for him. So we're not going to look at the report. If you want, I would definitely look into it yourself, but we're not going to be looking through all that right now. But we have this post right here. It's kind of a screenshot. In sum, the committee found substantial evidence of the following from at least 2017 to 2020. Representative Gaetz regularly paid women to engage in sexual activity with him. In 2017, Representative Gaetz engaged in sexual activity with a 17-year-old girl. During the period 2017 to 2019, Representative Gaetz used or possessed illegal drugs, accepted gifts, including transport and lodging in connection with a 2018 trip to the Bahamas. It's just, it's almost everything under the book that you're not supposed to do. And there's probably plenty of people that have done this in the House, if we're going to be honest. But, who was that one Speaker of the House? He was, a very known pedophile. He was a Republican Speaker of the House, I believe, but they just let him stay there because they had him under his thumb. They were able to use his pedophilic past against him. I guess they just couldn't do it with Matt Gaetz, and that's why they're coming out with this report in hopes of ruining his career, which I think is going to work. I don't know what to say. How did nobody step in and say anything? But, that's just how it works. That's how, people in power kind of operate. They'll protect their own until, they're no longer of use to them. And here's, some of Matt Gaetz just losing his goddamn mind over this. Another one of the ethics witnesses, who was an alleged prostitute, claimed she was indeed not when actually present in deposition. This won't be in the ethics report because of course. But yeah, he's just losing his goddamn mind about this.
The House Ethics Committee has released its final report into Matt Gaetz, the former Florida congressman and President-elect Trump's first pick for Attorney General. The committee says it found evidence that Gaetz paid a 17-year-old girl for sex and violated multiple Florida state laws. The panel also found evidence he used cocaine and ecstasy on multiple occasions while serving as a member of Congress. CNN's Caitlin Polance has been digging through this report now that it's public. Caitlin, what are you finding?
Phil, that section about Matt Gaetz and sex with the underage girl, that captures a lot of what the committee was looking into here. Just some of the facts that they were able to find, not only through documented evidence, but also interviews with more than half a dozen witnesses, including the victim, the girl or the woman who was 17 years old heading into her senior year of high school at the time. She told the committee with testimony that she had sex with Matt Gaetz, then a sitting member of Congress, twice during a party in July of 2017, including at least once in the presence of other party attendees. She recalled receiving $400 in cash from Matt Gaetz, which she understood to be payment for sex, and she had just completed her junior year of high school. The committee also looked at several other relationships that Gaetz had with women, not underage women, women who were adults at the time, but many of them told the committee that they did have an understanding that Gaetz was reimbursing them in some way for sex. So that led the committee to find that the congressman, while he was in Congress, was engaged in commercial sex, that would be prostitution, giving money to women, also statutory rape, that is the allegations related to the underage girl, and then also illicit drug use. The way the committee phrases it at the top of this report is that they determined there is substantial evidence that Representative Gaetz violated House rules and other standards of conduct prohibiting prostitution, statutory rape, illicit drug use, impermissible gifts, special favors or privileges, and obstruction of Congress. This report is now out publicly. Matt Gaetz had run to the court system this morning to try and block the release of the report, but the House has posted it online, as well as some of the evidence that they've gathered. And he, both in court and then also on X, has been saying repeatedly that these allegations are false and reminding people he has not been charged with any crime.
That's Caitlin Polance for us. And to Caitlin's final point there, Gaetz has vehemently denied the allegations. He's called his behavior, quote, embarrassing, but not criminal. This morning, he reacted on X saying, quote, giving funds to someone you are dating that they didn't ask for and that isn't charged for sex is now prostitution, question mark. exclamation point, question mark. There is a reason they did this to me in a Christmas Eve report and not in a courtroom of any kind where I could present evidence and challenge witnesses. Joining me now, my excellent panel of reporters, Jasmine Wright of Notice, Semaphor's Dave Weigel, Hans Nichols of Axios, and Politico's Olivia Beavers. And Olivia, I want to start with you. You live in this world, and not necessarily the world described in the report, I don't think, but on Capitol Hill with Matt Gaetz over the course of the last several years. This is now public. Yes. What does this mean going forward, I guess?
Well, I think, one, we're all wondering what this means for his career moving forward. A lot of Republicans believe he was eyeing a gubernatorial run when Ron DeSantis' term limited out. He floated himself for Marco Rubio's Senate seat that he's expected to vacate if he's confirmed into the incoming Trump administration. A lot of the contours of this report we had heard rumors and allegations of, but to see them in print, they're pretty damning. They say they found substantial evidence of him sleeping with a 17-year-old, of him, going to these parties where women had been sort of recruited by one of his associates on seekingarrangements.com, where at the very least women were expected to be paid for companionship, but in other cases for sex. And so I think that you're seeing Gaetz already online trying to do some damage control. He's tweeting and trying to undermine what the committee found, and also just claim that it was weaponized against him. Gaetz told me when I asked for his response this morning, these claims would be destroyed in court, which is why they were never made in any court against me. So I think you're just going to be seeing the beginning of this.
I don't honestly like to see this go to court because I don't see it going well with him. And here's the thing, guilty until innocent until proven guilty, that sort of thing. This could all be a bunch of hogwash. But Matt Gaetz had a friend that has been sentenced to prison. He was sentenced to prison 2 years ago in a sex trafficking case. This was a friend of his that we now know from the ethics report that he had a connection with when it came to the sex trafficking. So let's just look at this report a bit. The ex-Florida tax collector, whose arrest led to a federal investigation into U.S. Representative Matt Gaetz, a former friend, was sentenced Thursday to 11 years in prison for sex trafficking of a minor and other offenses. Joel Greenberg pleaded guilty last year to 6 charges, including sex trafficking of a minor, identity theft, stalking, wire fraud, and conspiracy to bribe a public official, and agreed to cooperate with federal investigators as part of his plea deal. As part of his plea agreement, prosecutors said Greenberg paid at least one minor to have sex with him and other men. I let you down, I betrayed my trust, yada yada yada. But yeah, this was someone who had a connection to Matt Gaetz, who, his arrest literally led to an investigation on Gaetz. And if you're wondering, well, this isn't hard proof that they had a connection or that Matt Gaetz was involved, here's a little bit of a text message between Joel and a 20-year-old female that came out from the ethics committee report. If you have a friend that is down, perhaps all 4 of us can meet up later. Do you party at all? Oh, that's perfect. I have a friend who introduced me to the website that I could bring. She's very pretty, great personality. I usually do $400 per meet. Does your friend use the website as well? And yes, I do like to go out sometimes. Very cool. Yes, he understands the deal. What does your friend look like? 400 is not a problem. Are you both old enough to drink? So what do you have in mind for tonight? And then we have Matt Gaetz. I guess they had to crop out the person he was taking a selfie with. This is not a good picture either. And Joel said, "This is my friend. Ooh, my friend thinks he's really cute. Oh, he's down here only for a day. We work hard and play hard. Have you ever tried Molly?" And that's the thing, is that it doesn't seem like he's able to really dismiss the drug charges, especially with this. But and here's the thing, this could be part of the companionship thing that was mentioned earlier. Oh, it's just companionship, but the man was tied to sex trafficking, and Gaetz was with him during a companionship thing, if that's what it was. It's not hard to think that maybe he played some part in it. And the committee felt like they found enough evidence. So, if this went to court, it's not going to look well for him. Just saying. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. We'll probably just leave it here. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. He's just not really making himself look that great during all of this. But yeah, we'll see. I hope it goes to court. That would be very interesting, to say the least.